Welcome, everyone, to the 2025 CJ CUP Byron Nelson preview. There's just too many words in the title of this tournament. We'll get into that. Welcome, everyone, to Tea Time. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com, being joined, as always, by my fellow golf betting expert, Nick Borman. We did not do a preview for the Zurich, and I could not have been more happy because I didn't watch one shot of that tournament. I really don't like it. I'm glad that we're back to the normal tournament here. And as always, guys, hit the like button. Leave us a comment. We're back to full-time golf shows here. Would love, the comment section's been crushing it this year. Love seeing who you guys are on this week. Let's go to one and dones real quick, Nick. Listen, it's an annual tradition. I pick Corey Connors in our one and done, and he completely falls apart as one of his worst performances of the year. I do this every single year. I don't know why I keep picking him, but you have skyrocketed into the lead. Russell Henley did a really nice job for you last time. That was over 500,000 that you added on there. So, all right, who are you going with this week? Odd field.
This week for me is take a chance, right? You got Scottie. You don't want to waste Scottie on an event like this. So then it's like, all right, well, it's a crapshoot. And I like to kind of go a little bit against the grain here because I think a lot of people are going to be in that top 10 on the odds boards, which I don't really honestly think. They have to put somebody as the top 10 of the odds boards, but I really don't believe that they're that much better than the rest of the field. So I'm going to go Jacob Bridgman. And if you're not paying attention to golf, you probably have no idea who that is, but just very steady, Andy, the last 2 months, one miscut in his last 8 starts, 4 top 15 finishes, including a runner-up at Cognizant, solo third at Valspar. And then, listen, his skill set is putting. He's been great. He's 5th this year, strokes gained putting. And we both think, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a second, but I'm going to believe this tournament's going to get lower than 20 under par as it has the last 2 years. So you're going to have to be able to roll the rock. So going a little against the grain here, Jacob Bridgman, just try to get that guy that's got a chance for a top 10 that nobody else is going to be picking, and that can separate us. So I like Bridgman.
Yeah, I can't blame you for rolling the dice here a little bit. I'm going to go with a guy that, looked absolutely terrible the first part of the year, but 5th and 11th in his last couple tournaments. I don't count last week at the Zurich where him and his partner missed the cut, but I'll roll the dice with Sung J M here. Part of it is I don't know when I'm going to use this guy.
True.
For the rest of the season. His numbers have not looked good this year, but his putting has been fine. It's been all about the approach for him. Minus 0.41 approach the last 6 months, but it's driving the ball very, very accurate. Tee to green is okay, except for the approach. His around the green has been fantastic. Putting's been above average. So we'll see if Sung J M has found something with his irons here in the last couple tournaments. Like I said, 5th and 11th, maybe he starts a nice little run here. So.
Both the tournament and Sung J M are sponsored by the same company. Was that part of your evaluation?
No, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Sung J wants to play good for the sponsor.
They're definitely going to, set this up in his favor, right? You got to believe they got to want him to win. So I like your play.
Sung J wants the hole over there. Move it. All right, let's talk about. This is a very easy course, TPC Craig Ranch. It's in Texas. It's just super, super scoreable. There's just not a lot to this course. I will say. Scores are probably going to Nick's right. It's probably going to get to minus 20. They did add some yardage to it. It's over 7,500 yards. It is a par 71 this week. They added some yards onto the par 5-6. That thing's now 635 yards. So don't think we're going to see anybody get to 2. It's a birdie fest. You're going to see eagles. There's some really easy holes. There's some really short par 4s. There's a few holes with water. There are quite a few bunkers, but the rough is not that penalizing, and it's just kind of a wide open, lookout. And on top of that, weather looks like it's going to be good, especially on Thursday. Wednesday, it looks like they may get a little bit of rain, which will soften it up, and then there's no wind basically on Thursday. So if they're going to go real low on Thursday, don't be surprised if you see a minus 8, maybe even a minus 9. Last time I said minus 8, Nick, JT went minus 10 on the first round. So the winds pick up a little bit Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're kind of looking at your standard Texas course with 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, but look for a fast start from these guys on Thursday. I'll be looking at playing the under on the round scores. If you have props under a certain amount of birdies or over amount of certain bogeys, Thursday is going to be the day to focus on. But really, there's just not much to this course. I don't know if you got anything to add to this, Nick.
The course itself, you kind of hit on the head. I mean, it's if you look back at the history of this course, it was a par 72 when it started. It's a par 71 the last 2 years. Each of those last 2 years, Andy, it ranked as either the first or second easiest par 71 on the entire yearly schedule. So it just kind of proves what this place is. And looking at the data, it's just the guys are averaging more fairways hit and more greens in regulation because the fairways are pretty wide than on an average tour stop. So yeah, these type of tournaments are very, in my experience, hard to predict the winner, hard to predict, that leaderboard because you just, the best players in the world tend to win when the conditions are the toughest, right? Their ball striking takes precedent. That doesn't necessarily happen on these type of tournaments, so it is hard to predict. I would recommend looking at, round scores, things like that, where you think a player might just go low any particular day or struggle, I guess. But it's very difficult to kind of gauge who's going to come out ahead. And Scottie Scheffler being where he is, under 3-1 to win, and then the field just falls off from there. It's very difficult to try to figure that out. So I'm going to stay away from Scottie myself. You mentioned the weather. It is perfect. So the thing about Texas in general is usually wind is a factor. And the golf courses are set up with that in mind. It's just like going over to Scotland, right? When they have good weather at the Open, those guys tear those places up, right? This place is set up to be wind whipped. And if it's not, which it's not supposed to be this week, the guys are going to eat it alive. So the greens are going to set to stimp at about 11 and a half. That's very slow for tour standards. I mean, you go to Augusta, they're 13 and a half, 14. So when there's no wind, they do that because when it's windy, you need a little forgiveness. But when there's no wind and the greens are not that fast, these guys can get after it. So it'll probably go low. It is 23 under one, I think, each of the last 2 years. Even though they added some yardage, I don't think that's going to change this year, Andy. So it's going to be tough, but you got to get the guy with the hot putter this week. But yeah, there's not much more to add for me on the course here.
Yeah, I mean, we do talk about some of the yardage added to some of the holes. And listen, sometimes they're like, well, 11 yards got added. Like, oh, no, not 11 yards. But I do think the yardage added to that par 5 is noteworthy. But you're right. On an easy course like this, all it takes is a couple guys to just get really hot with the putter. And all of a sudden you got a leaderboard filled with that. And we've seen that. We've seen it a lot this year. I mean, we've seen it a lot this year with some of these easy courses and these guys you've never heard of come out of nowhere. So, yep, look for low scores. Favorite hole, this is kind of a tough one. They mostly kind of look the same to me, but I'll pick the 14th hole. It's a 360-yard par 4. This used to be drivable. Actually, this is a hole where the added yardage kind of would add a little bit to it. Some guys used to be able to drive this thing, but this week at 360 yards, it would take a monumental drive and a lucky kick forward to get it to the green. Shorter hole, there's water on the left, bunkers on the right. I can see some guys bailing out to the right here a little bit, so the bunkers probably get some action. However, I think we're going to see some guys hit iron and 3-wood off the tee to just take the water and take the bunkers out of play to give them a very, very short, less than 100 yards coming in for the second shot. So especially with soft greens, I think you're going to see some guys that maybe want it back 80, 90 yards to see if they can get it high in the air, maybe get some spin on it. So you're going to see some different strategies off the tee. I think you're going to see everything from driver to 3-wood to hybrids to even some longer irons. So that's going to be my favorite hole. 18th hole rating. This is a lame one for me, Nick. It's a par 5. 565 yards. I mean, this is going to be one of the easier holes they play this week. It's just straight. Most can probably get there in 2 if they hit the fairway. There's some water in front of the green, but it's so far up front. I don't see many people hitting it in there unless they really, really chunk a bad one. Fair amount of fairway bunkers is the only defense that this hole has left on the right. That can make players think twice about going on it for 2. But if you hit it in the bunkers there, that's just a monumental mistake. So the green is wide. It's not long front to back. It is wide. There's some bunkers on the front. You may have to get up and down for your birdie, but it's just not too difficult. It's a pretty easy closing hole. It doesn't cause much drama, in my opinion. Pretty uninspiring. I'll give it a 4.3 on the 18th hole closing in. All right, let's go to total strokes gained. Nick does a great job breaking down how these guys add up for total strokes gained last 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. This one's going to be an odd leaderboard for this one. So walk us through this chart here. I'm guessing who the first name is. Oh, it is. It's Scottie Scheffler. Who'd have ever thunk? All right. What's your takeaways from this star-studded field here?
Well, my biggest challenge this week in making the graphic is to try to somehow use the formatting to show how much ahead of the field Scottie Scheffler is in this color scheme than the rest of it. And this is probably just barely showing it, but bright green at the top. And then everybody else is just barely shading green. And that's if you take the entire field and kind of try to average what those numbers are. So no surprise, Scottie at top 3-1. He is a complete avoid for me this week, just because there's no value in the number. Will he play well? Will he have a top 10? Probably. And yes, I'm sure. So I don't think he's going to have a bad week. I don't think either of us will say that, but hard to bet a guy like that this week. So moving on from him, you mentioned Sung Jae Im as your one and done. He's right there as number 2 on this list. I always like to add the guys that are kind of coming up more recently. Jordan Spieth fits that mold. He's obviously had some injuries, so he was only getting back in the circuit. He's from Texas. This is definitely a good tournament where he'll probably contend. He's got 3 straight top 20s coming in. You can see that at the bottom of the screen. Those 1.19s for him and 1.18 for Bridgman are actually up there in the top 5 in strokes gained the last 3 months. Still ways off from Scottie Scheffler, but just proves that that level of golf is few and far between. But those guys are trending in the right direction. I already mentioned Bridgman, in my one and done as well. A couple other notables here. I would look at Siwoo Kim trending up, kind of a guy that's pretty steady tee to green, but can he get hot enough with the putter? I don't know. Sam Burns, he's trending backwards, even though he still has some decent results. And he's just not a guy I don't really want to touch a lot right now until I see more a little consistency from him. But the one thing I'll add here, which I already kind of touched on before, is the unpredictability of these type of tournaments. So this graphic is your top 10. The regular events this year, there's been 17 events so far. 0 and 10 on predicting the winner out of this graphic. So
oh my God,
unlikely the winner's going to come from here. But in the majors, well, the one major and the 6 signatures we've had, 7-0. All 7 winners have been in the top 10. So it just shows you the volatility of you get into these type of fields. You're probably not going to get a guy that's right here at the near the top, but usually they don't come from too far down either. They might be in the top 30 or 40. But it's hard to know who's just going to have that week, any given week, when really ball striking isn't the thing that separates the fields. Those happen on the toughest courses and the deepest fields. So not sure, Andy, but avoid Scottie is my best advice this week, and look elsewhere. Here's a good place to start, but you can venture off this list as well. And if you want to count last week technically was the first week of a regular event that those guys were Novak and Griffin were actually in the top 10. They were in that graphic last week, but it was a weird event, so I'm not counting.
Well, let me read you. I'm looking at DraftKings right now. So Scottie Scheffler to finish in the top 10, including ties, is minus 300. Jeez. This is how the books have no idea what to do. The next person is Jordan Spieth at plus 190.
Wow.
That's number 2. Then Sung Jae at plus 210, Ben on plus 230. Like the books are just like, yeah, we don't know. We know Scottie's going to be great, but everyone else we have absolutely no clue about.
9 plus numbers available for you out there.
Yes, yeah. So here you go. Yes, you're right. You're right. Count Scottie in the top 10. If you could figure out who else is gonna be in the top 10, you got plus money written all over it. So absolutely amazing. Once again, guys, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, we've got all kinds of breakdown videos. We've got a PFL and UFC breakdown video coming for you this week, as well as MLB breakdown videos. We've got NBA playoffs, all kinds of great things. We just passed 200,000 subscribers, so thank you to all of you that have subscribed to the channel over the years. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that bell. That way you get notified when Nick and I are doing Tea Time and all of the other shows. Appreciate it. Let's go to players that can trip you up. I'm going to start with Jordan Spieth here. And this is just the books got to put some of these guys in the top 5. And so it's easy pickings for me to say, well, I think this guy, should worry you. He's got pretty good numbers. He's second in total strokes gained this season in this field, but he's gone 5 tournaments in a row without a top 10 finish. So making him the second overall betting favorite feels very risky. He missed the cut here last year. While there just aren't a whole lot of options, I just think betting on him, I would much rather take a guy like Jacob Bridgman or some of these other guys at much better odds. So just the odds on Spieth is going to make him unplayable for me this week. I'm going to go to the defending champ, Taylor Pendrith, won here last year. I just don't think he can repeat his performance. Listen to these numbers, Nick. Plus 2.83 total strokes gained, plus 0.9 putting, and plus 1.02 around the green. So how's he doing this year? Minus 0.38 around the green and minus 0.9 putting. So last year at this, it's really, really bad. So if you're betting on Pendrith, you're hoping that he just loves this course and he can go back to this plus 0.9 putting, but I just don't see it. He has 3 missed cuts and only 1 top 30 in his last 7 tournaments. I just don't see a repeat performance from him. Again, defending champ, kind of tough to put these guys up here, but Taylor Pendrith, I think, is the one guy that I would say absolutely not. No way am I betting on Pendrith. And then this has just been a disappointing year for Sam Burns. He threw us off the scent. One top 10 finish this year. That was the first tournament of the year, Nick. He rope-a-doped us. You're like, oh, Sam Burns, top 10 at the Century. Okay. But he just has not been accurate off the tee. His approaches have been awful. He's minus 0.42 total strokes gained approach. Again, tough field, but I've just been really disappointed with Sam Burns because I think we all know he can be better. We've seen his upside. We've seen him go toe-to-toe in a playoff with Scottie Scheffler. It's just not happening for Sam Burns. He's priced top 5. I don't see it. So Jordan Spieth, Taylor Pendrith, and Sam Burns are 3 players that I think can trip you up. Let's go to Nick's favorite. Before we do that, though, Nick, tell everyone what you have up at WagerTalk.com.
Sure. And just your Taylor Pendrith, he was 100-1 to win last year. He's 30-1 to win this year. Just to prove like who can win this type of an event. So probably good to stay away from that price reduction this year. Andy, right now, MLS in full swing. Rest of the season is on sale right now for $3.99 through the MLS Cup Finals in December. Another winning weekend, up over 10 units so far this year, going for 7 straight winning years. So love to always get as many people as you can on board with that package because very confident by the end of the year we're going to show a profit. So I hope to continue that. And then right now, this week is semifinals of Champions League and Europa League. So I have plays up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right now for each of those days. Usually just one game each day because there's not a whole lot there, but they are big matches. They are nationally televised. So definitely something to do during the afternoon because these games air at about 3 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. So those are definitely something to keep you busy while you're waiting for baseball in the evening time. But both of those things are going on available on my page right now at WagerTalk.
Love it. All right, your favorite here. Yeah, I like this one. It checks all the boxes. Let's talk about Ben On. Great price.
Ben On.
Absolutely fantastic price.
You're going to see him as Byung Hun On, or we like to refer to him as Ben On. Since the Open Championship last July, he's had an up and down run, Andy, but he seems to be trending back on the upside right now. Beginning with the Open, he finished in the top 25 in 7 of 8 tournaments, culminating with a win at the Genesis Championship, which is on the DP World Tour. That was in October. As the clock rolled into 2025, he had a slow start to this year. He only had 1 top 25 in his first 6 starts, but he's got 3 now over his last 5 starts, including a signature event, which was the Arnold Palmer, and then the major at the Masters, he was in the top 25. And besides trending in the right direction, he seems to love this track. He finished here tied for 14th in 2023 and tied for 4th last year. He also played on this course back in 2017 and finished tied for 5th there as well. So 3 top 15 finishes and 3 starts on this track. And then, the one skill set that On has is length. It's not the only thing that'll matter this week, but certainly we talked about distance and added length to the course overall. It's not going to hurt, and it will be an advantage to have that length, and he bombs it. So if he can keep that in play, keep him in the fairways, that's going to give him a little advantage. So I do like his form. I do like his course history here, and I do like his that particular skill set, which plays up here. And it probably is a good reason he's had good history here. So Ben On, 25-1 to win. Not the best number, but again, as you said, it's hard to fill in somebody behind Scottie. But the top 10 price, I think, is very, very reasonable, and I do think he can get in the heat there. And top 20 at plus 135 is a good option as well.
Love it. Love it. We're going to get to DraftKings Darlings. I've got PFL pack that is up. It's PFL week in the MMA world, which is huge for us. 5-1 this year in PFL plays for plus 11 units. We're number one in MMA profits, and we will have a 5% best bet that is going up either Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning. So depending on when you're watching this, there will be a 5% play up by Wednesday. So make sure you check that out. It's not a high volume week for all of our sports, but we're doing really well in sports like cricket, sports like NHL, and in particular MMA, maintaining that number one spot. So PFL week, grab that pack. There's 2 strong plays in there right now, probably going to be a third after weigh-ins, and we make sure everyone gets through to the fight. And then we're going to have a 5% best bet that is up. That's going to be in golf as well as UFC. So take advantage of that, wt.buzz/AL. We're closing out April really strong, and we are looking at our 15th winning month out of the last 18. So super, super proud of that. If you're interested in long-term packages, which you should be, 30 days is up on special at my page, as well as 365 days. Those are 30% off. wt.buzz/AL. Let's do DraftKings Darlings. Nick and I joke sometimes there are tournaments that are all DraftKings Darlings, and this might be one of them. We'll start with Vincent Whaley at 7,100. He hasn't been really good this year, but he finished 7th at the Corrales, and he and his partner finished 26th at the Zurich. So I could say that that's a bit of good momentum. Think about that, Nick. This is what I'm hanging my hat on. 7th at the Corrales, and he made the cut at the Zurich. But he does have one big selling point to him. He's made the cut all 4 years he's played at this tournament and at this course. So there's something that he likes about playing here. That's good enough for me to get him in my lineup. A guy that always makes the cut at a certain course. Yep, I'll go ahead and put him in there. Our boy, Sam Ryder, the streak continues. Nick made the cut in every tournament this year. So we will keep right. I know it really is amazing. Listen, he doesn't hit the ball really far, but his approaches and his putting have been really good this year. Is he going to win? Probably not. But as long as he keeps making cuts and getting us weekend points, and they keep leaving him like in the low 7,000s, we are going to keep playing Sam Ryder every single week. He is by far the MVP of DraftKings Darling. So we'll go with Sam Ryder, and then we'll go with Jesper Svensson. We've played him a couple times, and he's been good enough to make the cut. Made the cut 9 out of 11 tournaments this year, 7 straight. Putting has been fantastic, plus 0.46. Approaches have been bad. Not bad enough to keep him from making cuts. And on an easy course, a good putting performance is more than enough to get you through to the weekend. So Vincent Whaley, Sam Ryder, and Jesper Svensson are this week's DraftKings Darlings. Full lineup is up on my free digital download, wt.buzz/AL, the same place where you get all of our plays and specials, where you get that PFL and UFC golf 5% play. That's the same place you can get the free digital download. It's got all the write-ups for the DraftKings Darlings and players that can trip you up. That's free. Just go there to my page and you can get that. All right, Nick, let's talk a little bit of a long shot in a field full of long shots. I would have never, you could have given me a million guesses. I don't know if I would have gotten him. Well, I would have, because there's not a million. So. All right, talk this one out. This is the definition of a worthy long shot.
First of all, the trickiest part about this play is the pronunciation. Hisatsune is Ryo Hisatsune is his name. And if you're looking at any leaderboards, I would say this to you, Andy. If you go back the last 5 weeks and look at the top 20 leaderboards, there's one name you're going to see littered in there quite a bit that you were probably not thinking of, and it is Hisatsune. Listen, I don't think a lot of people besides us are even going to know his name, and that's understandable. But his name, I don't want to say he's going to have a career like Matsuyama, but he's 22 years old. The Japanese star is playing great. His ceiling, I think, is going to be very, very, very high. Last year was his rookie year. He's figuring it out. Everybody goes through those trials and tribulations. But here in his second year, he missed the cut in 4 out of his first 7 starts this season. But he's now made the cut in 5 straight events, including 4 top 20s, Andy. His iron game steadily improving. In the calendar year 2024, Ryo gained strokes on approach in less than half of his starts. Again, this is a rookie year. So 12 of 29 starts, he gained strokes with his irons. Obviously not good. Obviously a reason he struggled all of last year. While this year, it's taken a dramatic turnaround. He started the season, as I mentioned, a little slow. He lost strokes in 4 of those first 5 starts, but he's gained strokes on approach in 7 of 8 starts since. Obviously, a player that's 22 years old and only in his second season is going to be limited in experience pretty much at every golf course he plays all the way through. But he did finish here last year, tie for 13th, has won one of his few good results. So carry that momentum hopefully over into this year, plus his current form. He is top. We mentioned the top 10 odds. He's had Jordan Spieth as second at plus 190. He's 6-1, plus 600 for a top 10, or plus 260, which I love for a top 20, and that is going to be a play of mine this week. So there you go. You get your freebie. It's going to be a client play, maybe 1% or something like that. But I think he's going to be in the mix. He's playing great. He's had a little bit of history here, but I do think he's a name, Satsune, that you're going to hear more and learn how to pronounce properly as the year goes on, because I do think he's going to be a guy that's going to be here for a while.
Well done on the play and the pronunciation. that would trip me up.
Got it.
Yeah. We do players that can trip you up. That's pronunciations that would have tripped me up. So, nice work, Nick. Yeah, take advantage of Nick's MLS plays. Going for 7 straight winning years in any sport is absolutely incredible. It's profitable already. So take advantage of those soccer profits, and also don't forget to take advantage of the PFL and UFC plays from WagerTalk's #1 handicapper. But all golf plays are found at our pages. And again, hit the like button and leave us a comment, guys. Tell us who you like this week. Dig deep. This is the week to throw out some long shots. If you hit him, you get bragging rights in the comments section. So this is the week to hit a big one. So thanks very much for joining us. We'll be back next week on Tea Time. Good luck on your bets. We'll see everyone later.